What does free speech really mean in the 21st century? I think we need to redefine it or rethink it slightly, because the world has completely changed in the last 20 or 30 years and it's not changing back. The rise of the internet, of tech platforms, the fact that absolutely anyone can communicate with anyone else in the world right now has brought all sorts of new challenges which we don't necessarily have solutions to, or we need to work through them. But who we communicate with, how we communicate with them is absolutely essential to us as individuals and as a whole society. This is why this free speech debate is just so intense, because we do need to find good solutions to this whole problem. Now, onto free speech on the internet. I think that completely free speech platforms just cannot work because of the way the internet works and the way that communication works on the internet. There's all sorts of issues that you run into, like spam, like people pretending that they're not advertising when in fact they are. There's people just with bad intentions who are trolling. Then people who get together in groups to just troll other platforms. So that's called brigading, where you invade another platform and destroy it. And I think the biggest issue of all for almost everyone is that potentially you can have malicious dictatorial governments trying to influence the conversation on social media, which is a massive issue. So for someone who's trying to run a platform like this or build a platform like this, you can't really ignore these issues. You need to find solutions to them which will involve some sort of moderation. So going back to the question at the beginning, what does free speech really mean in the 21st century? It's my strong belief that this means you get to choose who your moderator is. You get to choose what platform you're on and what kind of people moderate that platform. Now, a lot of people, I think, instantly to this would say, okay, but I can't choose. Every single platform is left-wing, they're in Silicon Valley, I'm afraid of using them, I'm actually controlling my speech because I'm afraid of getting censored or banned. And fair enough, this is the situation right now. But I think this situation is actually a transitional period. Things are going to look very, very different in 10 or 20 years when the free market has actually corrected for these issues. So right now, there's a lot of frustration, especially people on the right or in the center with the current tech platforms. And you could say that potentially for half the world or half of many, many countries, the trust has completely been lost in these tech platforms, which means there's huge market opportunities for any entrepreneur who wants to go in and build tech platforms, social media platforms, for people in the center or the center right. So I think what you're going to see in the next 10 or 20 years is a big fragmentation of the social media landscape. There's going to be a lot more new companies. This might seem very, very difficult because these platforms are absolutely massive right now. We've let them get massive. And they've got these huge network effects because all your friends are on there, so you can't really leave them. But it's only a matter of time, and it might be difficult, but I think the entrepreneurs will eventually catch up and the free market will catch up. So just like in old media, you've got CNN and you've got Fox. I think at some point in the future, you're going to see Facebook and Rightbook or Centerbook or whatever. You're going to see more and more platforms catering to certain political groups. Going slightly into the psychology of this, I think it's inevitable that as humans, we are tribal. We can't really get over this. We can't really, this is just something that we have to live with. And we do tend to look at communication and information that we get through a political lens. This is why there's CNN and there's Fox, because the way we absorb information is through our own political lens. If you want to look at news through a left-wing lens, then you look at a certain publication, and the same goes for people on the right. And because social media is exactly the same, it's the way we absorb information, it's the way we communicate, it will inevitably be tainted by politics. And you can see this from the leadership of these platforms as well. In the recent US elections, it's quite clear that they did take sides. But you can also see it from the user base that politics does get involved in social media, and it's exactly why it's going to start to fragment inevitably, I think. Obviously, I'm one of these entrepreneurs who's trying to build a platform like this. Retalk is for people in the center and the center right, and it is moderated to keep the discussion civil and to keep it for people who want to have civil discussion. So that's my philosophy, is I think we do need to moderate platforms to keep extremism away, to keep all of these just tech issues away, like spam, like brigading, etc. But I think you get to choose who moderates your platform. So at Retalk, we've got people who respect right-wing, center, conservative values, and they're going to moderate in that way. The moderation doesn't lean left like it does on Twitter or on Facebook. So If you're interested, have a look at Retalk. You can talk about anything from gardening to history to politics. There is a lot of politics on the platform, but really it's built to discuss anything, but it's for like-minded people who are in the center and the center right. So click the link in the video, have a look at the platform. If you like it, then join the conversation.